Well, I'm back on this pasture and it's another beautiful day. And I couldn't ask for another better start, but that's really foily sounding, isn't it? I mean, touch or go whether I would dig that. But you know your dais is working well when you are digging things like this. Look at this. If I can find it without the pinpointer. It's the tiniest little Elizabeth, whatever it is, whatever this denomination is. Absolutely, and again, like I always say, coins out of this field are incredible. I mean, they are just in such good condition. And that's no exception. Cool. What an absolute beauty. This is a third video here in a row, I'm afraid. So the scenery isn't going to be much different, but hopefully the finds will make up for that because it's just such fun being here. You will find ring pulls and bottle tops and all sorts of rubbish everywhere, but it's worth it for little things like that. Another non-live dig because it sounded really squeaky and low, and there's a reason for that. It's because it's a very, very thin Roman coin in quite nice condition, I think, too. I can see the soldiers and a couple of standards on one side, Gloria Exercitus. So it's a house of Constantine, little 4th century. Absolutely beautiful, but God, you wouldn't, certain days you wouldn't bother with that, would you? Wow. Well, the wind's picking up a bit, but it's still lovely to be here. And that's quite punchy, but punchy things are not the end in this field. You are going to dig up a lot of rubbish digging these signals, but good stuff seems to be quite close to the surface too. Well, it's just there. Well, it's a coin. And it's a jolly nice jetton. Like I say every time, I'm sorry, but the things in this field come out so well. The conditions are just perfect. There's a little bit of a bump in one side. It's Nuremberg, because I can see from the rose and orb or whatever it's called, and then it's a lion of St. Mark. Now, I've found a few of these, but very few with the lion on, and never with the lion on in this good condition. If you want to know more about JETTONS, I did a really good video on my other channel. He says so himself. I'll put the link up there, because in researching them, I learned an awful lot about them, which I didn't know. And they weren't exactly what I thought they were, if that makes any sense. But gosh, I'm absolutely thrilled with that. Beautiful. That's a bit scratchy. I'm afraid with the wind in the direction it is, you're going to get this background rather often. I think that sounds better from there than it did from... Well, let's dig it and find out. Such a lovely day. It's so warm suddenly. Well, it's not as deep as I'd like, but not too shallow either. Well, that's why it was a bit scratchy, just a tiny bit of lead. But you've got to dig these with the Bishop Boy tokens, which is not much bigger than that. We've got to dig these. Can't not dig these. That's nice and faint. Yeah, I like the sound of that. There are still these calves and cows in this field, so I can't bring Tasky still.
But we were out yesterday. It was really nice being on a field and in some land that I didn't have to worry about him at all.
Still there, which is nice. I can see it. I don't think it's very interesting, but I have found a couple of other bits I want to show you. I have found hundreds of these today. Absolutely hundreds. They're the same size and shape as a Roman bronze coin. They're buttons. 4-hole buttons, driving me mad. But I found a couple of really nice things. Apart from that jetton we've seen already. That I think must be a strap end of sorts. Because I can see roughly where it would have been attached. And then this, that's a lovely buckle of sorts as well. It's bent over, that's where I think the actual buckle would have been. Look at that gilding. Absolutely beautiful. I think it's gilding. So we'll keep going for a bit longer. Haven't been here that long already. It's so nice to be here. God, it's mad, this wind. I don't know which way it's coming from. It's really swirling around all sorts of angles. So I hope you can hear me okay. I absolutely love this field. The things it throws up, I've got something really interesting. In fact, I'll show it to you now. It's a little, it looked just like a bit of strip of copper to start off with, but I've had a good look at it. And it's an arrow-shaped mount of sorts, and it's got all sorts of zigzaggy design around the sides. And it's probably a belt mount of, or a leather mount of sorts, but it's really cool. Oh, it's just nice to have the sun on your face. Yeah, it's a bit close to the surface, I think. Well, deep enough. It's a lead mend, a lead pot mend of sorts. There's a lot of that here. It's a good sign. Gosh, it's blowy, but really warm. The wind's really picked up. It's not very, it's beautiful, but it's really windy. It's slightly doing my head in. I think we may stop the live digs. Well, that's another really lovely bit of, nothing particularly sort of mind-blowing, but so simple and pretty and medieval. It's a strap end of sorts. You can see by the design. It's a copper leather mount or something like that, and it's completely charming and just typical of all the stuff in this field. So many interesting bits and pieces, and I've not touched the surface. It's too big and wild to know really where you're going. I'm trying to grid it, but it's almost impossible unless I mark it, and I can't be bothered to do that. Well, it'd be interesting to see how well this mic does in this wind. You probably can't really hear it, but I've just found something really quite strange, and I don't want to try and unbend it because I think I've already put a slight kink in it. I don't know if it's silver or lead. Seems to be a snake. I think it's a snake bangle, and I don't know how old it is. Not particularly, I wouldn't have thought, but a very unusual find all the same. Well, be a bit careful with it. I think that's going to break at any minute. Hi there, and welcome to headquarters. Well, sometimes I get it wrong, and sometimes I get it badly wrong, and this time I got it very badly wrong. I honestly thought this was a piece of modern jewellery, not particularly well made, perhaps Indian, because of the snake, and this looks very much like a cobra. I thought it was maybe a child's bracelet. It's obviously not. It's too small, probably even for that. And I don't know what made me suddenly think it was more important than I thought it was. I just thought, just in case, I'll start doing a bit of research on Roman jewellery. And I put in silver snake Roman bracelet into a Google search. Didn't come up with an awful lot, but did notice a couple of heads of some Roman jewellery looked almost identical to my one. I also, and I don't know quite how it happened, but I got put onto the fact that it might be a ring rather than a bracelet. And when I started searching through that criteria, I started coming up with a few more results, and it's really exciting. It is a 1st to 2nd century AD Roman snake finger ring, and it probably would have had a snake on the other side as well. I thought this was very bent. It's not, well, it is bent, but it's bent on purpose. You would have had a snake that side, and it would have curled around a couple of times, and you would have had a snake's head coming out on the opposite side to finish off the symmetry, and it would have been worn as a ring. The British Museum has almost exact copies of this from a hoard called the Snettisham Hoard in Norfolk, where there is a complete ring. I'll show you a photograph of it now. And also, but more importantly, which is the line I took to identify this, was I saw a photograph of a couple of the baubles that are soldered on or fixed on somehow to the actual body of the snake. This should have 3. It's only got 2. It's missing 1, I think. Anyway, I mean, I'm absolutely amazed. This is possibly one of the best things I've ever found. And it is amazing that it is almost complete, and rare, very rare that it's almost complete. There are not many of these around. It probably is missing that head. The really boring part now is that this is treasure, and it'll almost certainly be snaffled off us, i.e. me and the landowner. The British Museum has a couple of them, and I've seen a few in not nearly as good condition as this. It's silver, it's over 350 years old, it's jewellery, it meets all the things that treasure should meet, which means we've got to report this, and it'll go through the wretched treasure process. And I said it before, I've had bad experiences with flows. Not everyone has. Apparently some people's experiences with treasure and flows, your fines liaison officer, for those who don't know what a flow is good. Mine have not been. But anyway, we'll see what happens now, because this has got to do that. Anyway, so I'm glad this didn't just remain in the junk bin, because it could easily have done. I don't know quite what made me think that it was better than I thought, because I wrote it off completely as modern junk, and it's not. It's a 1st, 2nd century piece of Roman silver jewellery, and I'm thrilled. Tasky, come on, up. No task again because of the cows in that field, but he'll feature in the next video because he comes out with me, and hopefully we should have some more time with him. He's looking cross because he's not included much anymore, but he will be. I just can't do anywhere near roads and anywhere with animals. Apart from that, because he will run off. He'll come back, but he'll run off. And I like the fact that I can be in places where he can push off for a while and come back when he's good and ready, having come to no harm. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, and let's go back to the fields. Good boy, Tash. Mwah. And I've got a signal down here, albeit a bit scratchy and jumpy. Oh, I don't like that very much. But it could be just because it's got a bit of iron or something in it or around it or near it. But it's still in there. I was right on top of it. That couldn't be more central. I should get it out with that. Yeah, so it's there. I can see it. It's a little buckle. Well, I don't know if you can hear it now, but I call that one absolutely perfectly because it's absolutely charming, but it's got its original iron pin in it. Well, it's not noticing it now, is it? But in the ground it sounded very sort of jumpy, didn't it? I'm not sure that might not be silver. What a lovely, sweet little thing. Well, I found some more really nice bits and pieces. Musket balls, pistol balls, a couple of bits of very early pot rim by the look of things. Gosh, those make a proper sound. Something a bit more modern but very pretty. I love these coins. A 1938 Wren farthing. Beautiful little things in lovely condition. And a very nice buckle stroke strap end with the integrated or the integral, whatever they call it, bit there, which would have fitted sort of in or around the leather. Really, really cool. It's been such a fabulous day. And on top of it all, I've just found a cracking little coin. This field is just simply never ceasing to surprise me. It's a lovely... Well, I thought it was one of the girls, but it's not. It's quite a thick-jawed Roman emperor or Caesar. Not that the girls are thick-jawed, but it was the hair which made me think it might have been Theodora or Helena or someone. But it's not. I think it's Maxentius or someone like that. It's one of the later Constantine lot. And on the other side I can quite clearly see I think the soldier stabbing the other soldier on his horse or whatever, and I think that's him. But or Decentius, God, I might be getting it really wrong. Anyway, by the time this video comes out I'll have an idea on it. But that's been really lovely to find Roman amongst all the other bits and pieces we found as well today. It's just brilliant. I think I might give this field a bit of a break now. We've been here a few times in succession, but it's just been such fun. Loved it. I've absolutely loved it. Anyway, on that note, I can go home happy, and that's what I'm going to do. So thank you very much for joining me in windy East England, and see you soon.